I'm so excited for today's episode because we have a freaking powerhouse in the room. Her name is Traci Peterson. She is a board certified nurse practitioner, a CEO of Elevate Wellness and Aesthetics, a founder and an international speaker. And let me just tell you, when I was looking at her speaker kit, I was like, oh my gosh, she is fierce, she is intense, and she's going to be so fire today. She's on a mission to help moms and daughters who learn to love themselves. They lean on God as we raise the next generation of leaders. And really, it's helping become your best for you and becoming the best for her. So I love that. We're going to talk about daughters today and priding yourself in mastering your role as a mother, a wife, and a woman of faith and leading example of all of your leadership roles. You have lived a life of experience through your career and through mothering, and now you're in a position to be able to help other women do the same thing, to get clear on what's most important and to do it in a way that's not going to cause us to go cuckoo, but we can actually have a really amazing life. So we're in alignment with that, which I'm super excited about. And you've got three littles, not so littles anymore, 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So you've been there. You're in it. You're in it with us, which is so great. But welcome to the show, Traci.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
Powerful women you have on this podcast. And I'm talking to one right now. I've been
amazed at just the connections we've had on this podcast. And you are one that I'm so excited for people to get to know because I think you're on this roller coaster and it's only going up. It's going to be so good for you in 2024. And I can't wait for your own podcast to come out. Hopefully by the time this comes out, yours will be launched so we can cross promote that. But what did it take to get to where you are today? Like, what was your career journey before you got here?
My career path really started in medicine. As funny as it sounds, I remember when I was a little girl and I used to joke with my mom, I would say, Mom, I want to deliver my own baby. I want to be an OBGYN. What? Like what little kid says that, you know? And I'm in my backyard with my X-Acto knives, like dissecting snails and things like that. I'm like, what kind of kid was I? But that's kind of how I was as a kid. I was always set on helping people and being somehow in the health or medical field. And so I ended up going to nursing school and then I got my master's degree to be a nurse practitioner. And I practiced in family medicine and family practice for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And then that model, you know, I almost feel like we reinvent ourselves every 5 to 7 years.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like we continue to evolve as a person. We continue to grow and learn and be enlightened. And every 5 to 7 years, there's like this little itch and we're like, okay, what's next for me? You know, what's my next level? And so I remember sitting in the family practice office, which is just crazy that they give you 15 minutes to talk about 4 chronic health issues and medication management and all those things. Wow. And I kept my head in my computer the whole time. And I remember looking up at the end, I'm like, anything else? This sweet woman sitting across from me. Yeah. And I'm like, anything else? And I see these tears welling up in her eyes. And I closed my computer and I put my hand on her leg and I'm like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. And she just burst into tears. She's like, I'm depressed. I have no one to talk to. I've got 5 kids at home. I've got this pulling me in this direction and this pulling me in this direction. And I'm just like, I gotta make a little bit of a shift because this doesn't feel like it's an alignment with what I want to create anymore in my life. I'm still a nurse practitioner, but I shifted my focus more into medical aesthetics because that's right when I started having kids. Mm-hmm. So I needed the flexibility to not work nights, holidays, weekends, on call, all of that. And I just needed flexibility. So I switched to medical aesthetics. And then about 6.5 years ago, I was introduced to network marketing and direct sales. Mm-hmm. And I was totally oblivious to it. And I'm like, you know what? That might be cool. Like, I'll try that out, you know? Yeah. And it just felt different. It felt good to me. And so really, I kind of made multiple shifts throughout my professional career. And we got started in network marketing, saw a lot of success really quickly. And I'm so grateful for the industry because I think, you know, coming from being a nurse practitioner and evolving into a networker, I think network marketing done wrong can be like an absolute nightmare for a lot of people. Yep. And there's a lot of preconceived notions about it. Mm-hmm. But network marketing done right can literally change you forever. Oh, yeah. And I just never could have fathomed the personal development, the sense of community, especially that we as women, we need, and just the financial, you know, security and the options that it affords us. So, you know, we were able to retire my husband from that. And we've been able to help a lot of people, you know, across the world in 16 different countries. And so that opens up other doors, right? So 6 to 7 years into that, now I get to pursue different passion projects while still building that business and supporting people with, their mental and physical health. And that's this next project that we have with this mother-daughter movement called B that I just absolutely love and I'm so passionate about.
Tell me more. What is B?
So it's a mother-daughter movement that's grounded in connection and protection. This all came about a year and a half ago when, like you mentioned, I've got 3 kids. I have an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And they are like so high energy, bouncing off the walls all the time. And I love that about them so much, but I'm like, oh my gosh, you're going to drive me crazy. And they do most of the time, but I love them for it. But about a year and a half ago, my daughter, my oldest daughter, Quinn is her name. When she was 9, we were just doing the typical after school activities, just sitting at the counter. I was doing dishes. And I remember thinking in my head, like, as I'm grabbing the cup, like cup, plate, as I'm putting it away. And I'm like, spoon, fork. And there's like always that one fork that's like stuck in the dishwasher, like way deep down underneath. Like, how did that get there? Right at that same time as I stood up and I'm holding this fork in my hand, my daughter Quinn says to me so thoughtfully, she said, Mom, can we do woman lessons? And I was like, yes, of course. Like my heart is beating like it was then. And I was like, yes, like, what do you want to know? Like, I'm a woman. I'm sitting here right in front of you. What lessons do you want to learn? And she sat there so thoughtfully and she said, well, I want to learn how to do my makeup. I need to learn how to put together an outfit and I need to learn how to cook. And I was like, so sweet, right? Like so cute. And then I get stuck in that mental mom dark hole. And I just start spiraling down. I'm like, internally, I'm thinking that is so sweet, but that is also so sad. Like that all she thinks that a woman is what we look like, what we wear, and what we do. And it caused me to stop there with this fork in my hand. And I call those, you'll probably be familiar with this. I call these 1-minute moments. Where you have this 1-minute moment with our children that's so formative, where you can choose to go down this path, or you can choose to get a little introspective and go down this path. And you end up in totally different trajectories and totally different. And so I was like, what do I want her to know about being a woman? Because there's so much more to being a woman than that. It's about being self-assured. It's about knowing who you are. It's about having opinions, being able to articulate those opinions to other people. It's about being spirit-led. It's about being kind and inclusive. All of those things. And I'm like, those are the things that I want her to know. And I was like, and I know I'm not alone in this. As like a high-performing mom, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, if we're not careful, oftentimes, I mean, I'm sure you see this talking with women, is usually it's the most confident, the most put together, the CEOs, the top producers, the high achievers that are actually the most insecure.
Oh, 100%. It's all a facade.
All a facade, because usually we're people pleasers, right? We need that external validation to find our self-worth. And so what I found is that if we're not careful, well-intentioned mothers can inadvertently project their insecurities onto their daughters.
100%. Yes.
And so it's like, oh my gosh, like Marina, if I can create this container for mothers and daughters to personally develop and be very clear on who they are and develop themselves as strong, confident, self-assured women, and they can personally develop side by side. As high-performing moms, we have this tug of war, this internal tug of war, where it's like, I have all of these desires to be this connected mother, or I can be, crushing these business goals and these desires that I have outside of the home. But what women need to realize is there's not an or. They need to switch out that or with an and. You can be a well-connected, present mother and be an amazing businesswoman, because that's how you actually show and model your children how to go after your dreams, right? You're giving them permission to do the same, because otherwise we're just self-sacrificing, and then we're going to raise another generation of self-sacrificers.
Little kids model everything that we do, or we model what they do. Like I've started to notice too, even just like how she talks on the play phone, she's acting like mommy, exactly, like word for word.
Yes.
Whoa, you were a sponge. It's pretty crazy. We just chose to homeschool our son, our 9-year-old. And so that's like the best thing is because he can watch life happen. It's not just like, see you at 5, have a nice life. It's got to be integrated. First of all, I love that you're doing this because not only is it such a need, but it's such a sacred relationship that we have taken for granted.
Amen.
I think parenting in general, we've just taken for granted that like, okay, now I got him. Let's just get him to graduation and then see you later. Like the whole idea of a nuclear family, right? Yes. But this is something that is so needed. And what's shaping women today is social media, which has been really, really harmful. Hey ladies, real quick, if you are looking for a mentor, I just wanted to remind you that I offer mentorship to entrepreneurs. So if you're someone who has a never-ending to-do list and you're spiraling out of control and feel like your business doesn't have a track plan, I want to work with you every single week for a month at a time. It's super simple, but I come from over 10 years of experience doing this myself, and now I'm willing to give that information back to people. So I've mentored real estate agents, I've mentored wedding photographers, I've mentored other business owners, and they've come from a place of overwhelm mostly, and they really just needed clarity and a couple of action steps to move the needle, and we've seen gigantic leaps and bounds in their business, like I can't even tell you. So if you're interested and you want to know what that looks like, I want you to go to marinatolentino.com. And there's a Calendly link there to do a 15-minute discovery call with me just to see if we're a good vibe check, to make sure we're on the same page. And I would love to work with you one-on-one to really boost your business to the next level. Let's dive back in. Quick story, like I have a personal trainer and she was just sharing this with me that one of her new clients just booked her. She's 16 years old and wanted a booty pump for next week. And she's like, okay, like that's so random, whatever, but like didn't know the story. Then come to found out it's for a funeral, her mom's funeral. And she wants the booty pump for her ex to see her at the funeral. And she spent $400 to get a booty pump a week away. And I'm like, 16-year-old, that's like so many things. I'm so concerned. Like just my heart breaks for this woman. I'm like, that's this generation. Unfortunately, like we have to be the ones to step up. So first, props for seeing the need and seeing the idea that like, hey, it's probably not just her, but her friends are probably feeling this too. Like there is a craving to be mentored. That's incredible. So that's awesome. Well, so what does it look like? What does be mean? Like how do people get involved?
Yeah. So it's a place where mothers and daughters can build belief in themselves, elevate other people as they become who God created them to be.
Amazing.
And so instead of looking to the world for external validation, like you mentioned through social media, which is just, it's heartbreaking, honestly, to see, we're helping these women and their daughters to look inward and upward for their validation. So as you come to know yourself better, we like to say, like, when you truly remember who you are and whose you are, that's where true internal confidence comes from, is the more you can get to know what makes you special and what makes you unique. You know, I think sometimes, especially as girls, we get told a lot of messages as we're growing up, some from our parents, some from our moms and our dads, our siblings, punk kids at school, whatever it is, those labels become our limits, and I think we're labeled at such a young age, different things. For me, I remember when I was 14, I won student body president. And I remember walking up behind my friends, my circle of girlfriends, and they were talking about me like, oh, she thinks she's so great. And whatever. And then I went home seeking like for reassurance.
Yeah.
And I had somebody that I loved very much say, well, these girls aren't treating you very nicely because you're too loud and you're too confident and you're too self-assured, and it makes people feel uncomfortable. And so then as this 14-year-old, I was like, wait a minute, for my whole life, for the last 14 years, I've been celebrated for these gifts. Right? It's like, oh, you have these natural leadership abilities. And until it became too much for those people around me. Right. And so then I started to tone it down a little bit. And I thought it was my job to make everybody else around me comfortable, when what I wish would have happened, because that label stuck with me for like 25 years, literally. And these labels truly can become our limits unless we reframe them. Right. Many women probably have been called like, oh, you're too emotional. No, you're just empathetic. Like, oh, you're too bossy. No, actually, you're a master delegator. Right? It's like you can reframe all of those things, because the things that we've been told are wrong with us are actually the things that are right with us.
So good.
and they make us who we are and who God like called us to be. And it's like, we just need to own those things. First, we need to like identify those things, own them, develop them, and then make sure that what you're doing here and what I'm doing with B is create this community of women who celebrate and support you in your gifts.
Yeah.
It's like, I truly, truly believe that a group of powerful women that know who they are, know what gifts they possess, and they champion other people, there is nothing that group of women cannot accomplish.
Oh, so true. Yeah.
But I feel like that's why women are under attack, is because if we can keep women focused on the external, on their booty pump or whatever it is, do you know what I'm saying? If we can keep them focused on the external and take the focus away from who am I really and whose am I, then that's where the competition starts, right? That's where the comparison starts. That's where the self-criticism starts and the judgment starts.
Yeah.
And, so we just have to be really, really, really careful, and also realize that it's okay to set boundaries too, because if people don't see your gifts and they don't celebrate those gifts, they are not your people.
Nope. Yep. We are not supposed to be all the same. That would be a really boring world. So
oh my gosh.
We just
such
did,
a boring world.
Yeah. We have a connect group at church. And like one of the things we just did was take a spiritual gifts test. And I did it like years ago, but we just redid it. And so of course things change and my gifts have changed, but I still have like a core thing. And mine's encouraging other women and mentoring. And I'm like, well, go figure, look what I'm doing. But someone else is like super gifted at this thing and someone else is over here. And it's like, we don't want everyone to be the same, but in school, it's like the one that stands out as the odd one. And so I'm constantly trying to reinforce that too in our kids, to be like, you're supposed to stand out. You're a natural leader for a reason. Yes. Like there's a reason everyone wants to do whatever you're doing. Like use that.
Yes,
you know?
Yes, totally. Same. And even, and again, like with those labels, like my son, Tristan, my 9-year-old, I call him a high energy kid. I don't call him an ADHD kid.
Oh no.
I don't call him a troubled child. I call him a high energy kid because he's high energy. And as moms, we can help reframe those labels in our children. So I say, Tristan, your energy is going to change the world one day.
So good.
Like that's his superpower.
Yeah.
That's his gift. So instead of, yes, is it challenging? Absolutely. But I had somebody tell me this once. It was one of his church teachers. They said, listen, we had a son just like Tristan. And they said, he's a stallion. And he said, don't try to break him. His spirit and his energy just needs to be corralled. It just needs to be corralled. He doesn't need to be broken of it. Just love him because he's a stallion. And I'm like, oh, I love that. I love that so much. And that's what I needed to hear when I was 14 years old is, you know what? God gave you all those gifts for a reason and you're going to use them for good. And there's going to be people that don't understand them. And you can love them, but they don't need to be like in your close circle. You can always be kind, but you can also, have boundaries.
Yeah. And I feel like it took me over a decade to like really get that. Because in your 20s, you just want to be accepted and loved, right? So you're like willing to bend over backwards. And then in your 30s, suddenly you have a backbone, but we're still testing the backbone. It's not quite straight yet. And we're still like pushing those yes and no's. That's so good. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. But real quick, if you are someone that's super overwhelmed and you're worrying, how the heck am I supposed to do all this stuff? I want to tell you, I have a really good 4-week course for you. It's called Core Values of Your Calendar. It's super succinct to the point, filled with stories about how I've overcome overwhelm myself and the strategies and tools I use today to do all the things that I'm doing today. So I've been there, I've seen it. I mean, I still see it on my feed today. All the influencers who are telling us, do this, sell more, be more, post 12 times a day, right? And it's freaking impossible. And so I want you to go to marinatolentino.com, scroll down and look for the course. Again, it's called Core Values of Your Calendar. Read it, see if it's right for you, but I would love for you to dive in and literally implement the tools and systems and strategies that I've learned over the years and have paid thousands of dollars in coaching to get this information and give it to you in this course. Check that out and we'll get right back to the podcast. So you have some statistics on your speaker kit that I just want to read out loud because I think they're so good. But you said 42% of women admitted to never complimenting themselves. 46% of women say they criticize themselves at least once before 9:30 a.m. 75% of women have disordered eating patterns and 90% of women lack self-worth. So that's like majority for pretty much all of those that we're all falling victim to, which is a huge heartbreak that we've allowed ourselves to get there. Like, oh my gosh, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it is heartbreaking. And that's the thing is we've heard the quote before, be the change that you want to see, right? It's like, why I think it's twofold. Because here's the other thing. Women and moms, we also don't need like extra things to make us feel guilty. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, hey, there's 75% of women have disordered eating. Well, that's a learned pattern typically. Mm-hmm. So, oh man, well, here we go. Well, that's something I got to work on. Yeah, we do. We do. Because we're setting an example. That doesn't mean that you snap your fingers and you have to be perfect. It means that you have to be progressing. Mm-hmm. I always say that all of these techniques that I teach is a daily practice, not a daily perfect. Yeah. Just as long as you're progressing, we're going to be fine. We're really going to be fine. But those are learned behaviors, many of those things, which is why I wanted to create this mother-daughter movement where mothers and daughters could personally develop together. Mm-hmm. Because could I have run a camp where I would take these girls of 9 and 12 and take them out of their environment, make them feel good, remember who they are and whose you are, like talk about gratitude, talk about your divine gifts and, you know, setting boundaries and regenerating your energy and all these things that we talk about and teach. And then if I put them back in their home with a mom who self-criticizes, judges herself and her children, projects all of her insecurities onto them, isn't personally developing, then that girl's going to revert right back to the patterns that she had before. Yep. So it's sort of like a call to arms with moms. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's a special breed of mom that's in the world right now. Like there's sort of like this calling and rustling and awakening that I think a lot of women, especially high performing women with children, like they're feeling this call to like rise up a little bit. You know,
I'm 100% with you. Yeah. I mean, just with our choice to homeschool in the last 2 months, so many of my friends and people that I follow are like, I've been thinking about it too. I think I'm going to do it next year. And I'm like, you and you and you. And then so many people I didn't know were homeschooling came out and said, oh, we've been homeschooling. We love it. I'm like, you never thought, but it's because something is wrong with what's going on. We don't like how our children are developing if we just let America do it the way that America would. And so absolutely, it's like enough is enough. We've hit the pain threshold. It's time to change. And if we think this is the next generation, if we could have it anyway, how would we have it? Let's do something about it. What is the experience like? Is it a group course? Is it an event? Like how do people plug in?
There's 2 types of events. So we do mother-daughter date nights, and I'm in Utah. So most of these events are here in Utah. So we do mother-daughter date nights once a quarter. And then we have a weekend summit on June 7th and 8th. So that's going to be a day and a half. We're bringing in expert speakers from Utah, from California, from Florida, and it's just going to be an all immersive like weekend, mother-daughter weekend getaway. It's going to be so fun. Friday night, we're doing a service project with Mothers Without Borders that is going to touch. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so powerful. We talk to these girls and these women to be candle lighters and not candle blower outers. I know that sounds kind of funny, but literally it's like, are you like walking around trying to blow out people's candles? And is somebody always trying to blow out yours? That's a good indicator and a filter for people who you want to have in your life and who you don't want to have in your life. And would you want to be in someone's life if you're going around trying to blow out people's candles? So we're doing a service project where we're going to connect with a girl in Africa. So we're going to light the candle of a girl who's in Africa, and then they're going to write back to the daughter and the mother with a picture and the whole thing. Cool. And then we're going to do like a dance party, karaoke. That's going to be super fun. And then all day Saturday is going to be activities, because girls between the ages of 9 and 12, and if your listeners and viewers are thinking, oh man, I've got a 13-year-old, have them come. It's totally applicable to 13-year-olds. I would say 8 is just a smidgen too young. If they're a mature 8, they'd be fine. But the target is between 9 and 12-year-olds, but they just want activities. They want to do things with their mom. In this psychosocial stage of their development, it's identity and confusion. So they're learning who they are. They're learning who they want to be, and they want to try on all those hats. It's like, am I an athlete? Am I an artist? Am I creative? Do I love working with my hands? Do I love fine needlework? Like whatever it is, they want to just do fun things. And the most important thing is they just want to connect with their moms. So we create a ton of connection activities, and then we come back and we teach a principle, a framework, and inspire a behavior. It's pretty fast moving because we have to keep, these young girls' attention, but they are incredible foundational concepts that's taken me 25 years to learn. And if I can save one mom, if I can save one girl from 25 years of struggle and pitfalls and heartache and hardship of not loving their body at every stage, of having disordered eating patterns, of forgetting who they are and trying to people please my way through life. If I could save them from hyperachieving and overachieving and getting all those accolades just to prove that they're worthy, if I could save even just one person from that, it's all worth it.
Oh yeah.
It's all worth it.
I think you already have. That's the amazing part. Now it's just spreading and it's the ripple, right?
Yeah.
It's the candle lighting. You're lighting the next one, the next one. When you were saying the candle putter outers, I was thinking the snuffers. You don't want to be a snuffer. No snuffers allowed.
No snuffing. This is a snuff-free zone. It's so true. It's so true though.
Oh my gosh, so good. It sounds so fun. And I think for sure when Mika gets a little bit older, because she's only 4 right now, we would love to participate. That sounds amazing. Hope it just continues and you have pop-ups in other cities. You can go on tour. Who knows what? It could be awesome.
Yes. Well, it's funny you should say that because I think that might be in the works. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't make it out to Utah or I'm traveling that weekend or whatever, just go onto our website, tracipeterson.com. You can type in the little like info and just like email me and say like, we want this out in our neck of the woods, because we've been starting to get a lot of people like in Arizona and California and Idaho that are wanting things, and people on the East Coast are asking now. So we'd love to know. So tell us where you want us. Awesome. Oh, fine. I'll come out to Hawaii. Okay.
We will gladly host you. Yes, it'd be amazing. One of the things you mentioned too was like the goal setting issues that we have. So you mentioned goal setting with gratitude and grace. Can you define what that means for a high producer?
Goal setting with gratitude and grace. I think that specifically for high performing women, we are not at any shortage. We are always thinking of the next thing. We're always thinking of the next goal.
Yep.
But very rarely do high performing women pause to give themselves a pat on the back and to celebrate all the things that they're doing, because we're constantly driven by what is next, what is next, what is next. And so that's why high performing women oftentimes desire, like, how can I have more presence? Like, I feel like I'm go, 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 but I don't really feel like I'm present in my life. It's like my life is just happening and I'm like just sort of floating through my life, if that makes sense. And so something that's helped me have a little bit more gratitude and grace with my goal setting is just that. It's setting up a daily practice of gratitude.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds super simple and hokey. And I am one that I am not a super complex morning routine, hour long. My morning routine is 3 minutes. Why? Because I know I can do it every single stinking day.
Good. Yeah.
And so I can pray. I can get grounded in gratitude. So I literally I take off my shoes and I ground my feet and I open up my blinds so that I can face the sun. There's some symbolism there.
Yep.
You can kind of go with it, but sun gives you life. Sun gives you energy. Right. And so I turn and I face the sun and I pray. And then I list 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I keep my hand on my heart, because the greatest goal that any of us could have is that we get up each day and we have the breath of life.
Yeah.
That we have the gift of the day in front of us. And then I'm going to go here. Normally I don't go here, but I ask God where he needs me to go. I ask God who he needs me to talk to and to place people in my life that need me. And I think we don't talk about that enough in business, because I think maybe it's a little taboo where, having a spirit-led business, but I think it's important. I really, truly do.
Absolutely.
Because it goes back to knowing who you are and whose you are, and that there is a plan for each one of us, that our divine potential goes far beyond the things of this life. And so yes, we're here to work and to develop and grow ourselves and turn around and help develop other people, then we probably should have like a co-creator partnership with God. And he's going to guide us. When have I felt that I've been the most successful? Is when I've partnered with God.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
The times when we
trailblaze our own path. Let's go together.
And you know what, Marina, this is something that I know God is just like this. Like, oh, Traci, it's going to take you your whole life, you sweet thing, to figure this out. I will just keep trying to rely on my own natural man and my own inclinations and just, I can do it. I got it until I don't got it no more. And then he's like, we've got it. Like, I've got you, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's such a good reminder to always invite him in. He's always there ready. He's always there standing at the door. He just needs to be invited in. We just need to.
And I asked how you know that you're in alignment. What does that look like and feel like for you?
That is a really, really great question. I know that I'm in alignment when I have energy. When I'm depleted of energy, I know that I'm not honoring my values. And I walk our mothers and daughters through this process too. So it's very, very simple. If any of your listeners want it, they can just message me on the website and just type in energy, because I have this whole regenerate energy worksheet that they can walk through. But I identify my top 3 energy generators that will be different for everybody.
Yeah.
So yours might be walking outside. I've worked with women who, felt stressed out and overwhelmed and completely out of alignment. And I'm like, what is your energy generator? She's like, I love riding my horse. And I'm like, when was the last time you rode your horse? She's like, 3 months ago. I'm like, well, go ride the dang horse, And so I feel the most aligned when I know that my 3 values, I'm hitting those consistently. And mine is health, number 1. Yep. But underneath health is health mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And for the longest time, I was like, whenever I do these value things, I'm like, I always like wanted to put God up there, but it never felt right. It's because it's health. It's health spiritually, and he's involved in that. And for me, I also find God more when I'm taking care of my body, when I go to the gym, when I'm putting good foods into my body. We teach these girls that you're more than your body, but it is important to invest in your vessel. And so when I'm investing in my vessel, I feel God more. I have more of like a direct conduit with him when those things are in alignment. So I feel like God is wrapped up in health. It's kind of mind, body, spirit, Yeah. So I felt guilty about that for a lot, because I was like, it should be God. And it's like, it is God.
Yeah. It just feels like devotions over business or whatever. Like it felt phony, and that makes total sense. Yeah.
Yes. So if something doesn't quite feel right, try to find the God in everything that you do. But so mine is health, and then family, and then my mission. And so those are my top 3. And within family, I really try to do one-on-one dates with all of my kids, and they have loved that so much. And we don't always go somewhere or spend money. Sometimes we'll just go we call it a gratitude walk, and they love it. They love it, or just a drive. Yeah. That can be our one-on-one date. Kids just want 100% focused attention. And we live in, where's my phone? It's in my back pocket. Hello. Right? Like it's always on our person. Yeah. And so we're always distracted. And so I think it goes a long way to set those boundaries of, hey, I'm not even going to bring my phone on our drive. And so they know it's not even there. Even if the phone is like turned down on the table, that's dirty. You know,
if you go to lunch with someone and their phone's on the table, it's so distracting. Even though it's off, it's just distracting.
I know. And I'm so guilty of doing it. I'm like, daily progress, right? Not perfect. Certainly not perfect. But so go back to your question. That's how I know when I'm in alignment. Is when I have those 3 energy generators in my day and in my calendar, and I audit my calendar frequently. Usually seasonally, especially with kids. I think this is a really good tip, is because usually kids go on seasons, right? It's like basketball season or volleyball season or baseball season. So at the beginning of each season, we audit the calendar and make sure that our energy generators are scheduled in there first. And so you are building your business around your life, around your energy generators, and not the other way around.
Yep.
And this is a skill that we teach these girls in a very simple way of how to identify what their energy generators are. And it's darling, because my 11-year-old is her pets, her church group, and singing. It's like, so we need to make sure that those things are in there. And if they're not, then she's being depleted of energy. She's not living in alignment. And so we also talk about how we can communicate that and foster communication And we call it needing to have an energy or a values check-in. Mom, I need to have a values check-in. Sort of like a safe word where it's like, if they don't quite know how to bring it up, like, hey, mom, you're wanting me to play volleyball all the time, when really all I want to do is study animals or be with my friend. We teach them how to have a more responsible conversation over making sure that they're in alignment with their values. And I think the earlier that we can teach them these skill sets, the more likely we are to avoid the overwhelm, the stress, the burnout, not listening to their inner voice when they know that things are off and they just don't know how to stop the ship and turn it around,
So good. No, and it comes back to that place of knowing who you are before you're shaping yourself to what the world tells you to be, or what kind of business owner to be, or whatever. So-and-so is doing XYZ, so I have to do it too. Like, no. We're not doing that. That's so good. I think there's so many gems that people will get out of this episode. Like, it's so encouraging. And I'm just so glad that you could share your story and what you're doing to change the world that's around you, which is so needed. We need more people like you, Traci. So
there are so many amazing people out there. And I love what you're doing here to create this community of high-performing women, because we need to hear all the stories. We need to hear all the little tips. Newsflash, nobody's got it figured out.
Nope.
Nobody's got it figured out. It's like you try something, you're like, that didn't work. So now let's make a little micro adjustment. And we just need to teach each other all the micro adjustments that we've learned through our mistakes. It doesn't mean you're a bad mom. No. It means you're the best mom because you're still learning and you're still growing and still trying to figure it out.
Totally. And I always say, like, we're so connected online, but we're so disconnected intimately. Like, we don't have the real talks. It's like likes and loves and whatever, but no one's sharing, like, actually, this is really hard what I'm going through right now. Like, homeschool is really hard right now. We have a lot of emotions flying. It's not easy. But on Instagram, you might think that I have all put it together. Like, it's just world. Yeah.
Which also, I love that point that we're like so disconnected and we don't have that human connection. Because I thought, and I went back and forth in my mind a little bit when I was creating these events. I'm like, should I just do them online? I'll be able to reach more people, but it's like, am I really going to be able to reach more people? Like really, really reach? And the answer was no. And so is coming to an event a commitment? Absolutely. Is it a sacrifice? Depends on how you look at it. Because to me, what is your daughter's self-worth worth?
Priceless.
Anything. Worth anything and everything. I'll maybe wrap with this story. After our very first event, we did something called Angel Whispers, where we had all of the girls and the moms. We took them just through this like really, really simple guided meditation where they went back and they talked to themselves as a little girl when they were the most happy and they felt the most contented. And that little girl had a message to give them. And some of these messages that we heard, like mine was, you're enough just the way that you are. And then we all stood in a circle and we had the little 9 to 12-year-old stand in the circle as each mom and as each girl went up and whispered their lesson or their learning that they wish they would have known sooner, that they wish they would have been told. And everybody was just in tears. And I literally was standing there and I felt like I was seeing a generation change right before my eyes.
Crazy.
Where I saw mothers pouring into my daughter and I saw other girls, young girls, supporting and uplifting and sharing their lessons and their learnings with each other. And I had this little 11-year-old come up to me just in tears. And she's like, Traci, that's the most that I've ever felt the spirit in my entire life.
Wow. That's powerful.
It's like, and then we just hugged and embraced and she just sobbed and I sobbed. And I was like, you can't get that online. These are experiences and connections that are going to shape these little girls for the rest of their lives. And that relationship between mother and daughter shapes them for the rest of their life. So why wouldn't we want to become the best version of ourselves as moms? Why wouldn't we want to be connected with other moms who want the same things and that are moving in the same, direction that we are? Because again, when we do that, when we can combine together, that's how you truly lift and elevate the world, is one connection at a time, one person at a time, one spirit at a time. And then it just starts to grow.
So good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what is the action step for people who are interested in attending? There's ticket sales online, I'm assuming.
Yes. Ticket sales are online. You can go to tracipeterson.com. Traci is with an I, Peterson's with an O-N. So tracipeterson.com. It's right there. And then for your listeners too, do you know when this is airing?
Hopefully the end of May.
End of May. Perfect.
Like okay. Right before, yeah.
Perfect. I'm going to give your listeners a special code that they can get 10% off. Okay.
Ooh, okay. So awesome.
It's BBG10.
Okay. Easy.
BBG10 just through the end of May. And I'm excited to see all of you guys there.
Actually, because your event's coming up in June, maybe we'll push it up the roster there. So
I was going to say, I was hoping it'd be April because then I was going to have to extend the code. But whatever works, we'll work with your assistant and we'll make sure that code is active for your listeners.
Amazing. Okay. So I end every episode with a fun rapid fire just to get to know you a little bit better. But what is your Starbucks order?
Oh, egg white bites, red pepper egg white bites, and a dragon fruit refresher.
Yum. Easy. Okay. What do you make for dinner if it's last minute?
Shrimp and like just sauteed with butter and Italian seasoning.
Yeah. And then you do that Hawaii style, just garlic shrimp.
Yeah. Yes. That's literally, I'm like, I have like minced garlic that I just like throw in. Yeah.
Love it. Okay. What's your favorite go-to department of Target and your favorite designer there?
That's a great question. I'm usually like you know what? I'm normally in the holiday section at Target buying candy. Like I'm just going to be real.
Yeah.
True. It's like, that's just true.
Yep.
Because we just came off of Easter and I was like in that section all the time. I'm a lover of candy. That is a weakness, but I always pair it with a protein and a fat. So it stabilizes my blood sugar.
We're good.
We're good.
Okay. Well, name a book or a podcast you'd recommend to the audience and why.
Oh my goodness gracious. Sherry Do. If life were easy, it wouldn't be hard.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
That's when I was going through a very, very hard time in my life in my early 20s. And that book, I was like, okay, God, you're speaking like right to me.
Wow. Okay. We'll definitely link that one so people can get that. TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram. I don't even have a TikTok.
Oh, good job, you.
I know. I've like resisted for such a long time.
Yeah. Ugh. Don't fall into it now.
I know.
Okay. And then where can people find you on Instagram? What's your handle?
My handle is @tpete. And then the mother-daughter movement page is @mother-daughter movement.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I can't wait for this to get out and for people to learn about it and just get inspired, especially for moms of daughters, just to get really encouraged to realize we can change the world with one girl at a time. And that's mic drop.
Boom.
All right. Thank you, my dear.
Thank you. You're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing.
No problem. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye.